We have met 8 devil hosts so far in Black Clover. 4 are using the method where the devil is holding all the power. The 4th, Zocrates and Julius, are a complete mystery at this moment. And Noct is using the devil binding ritual method. Even though he's the only one we've seen so far, it seems to be the most popular method among humans, with documented tribes of devil hosts in the Clover Kingdom and the hundreds of skulls in the subterranean levels of Noct's house, showing many failed attempts at this method. We haven't been explicitly told that there are 2 types of devil hosts, but that is the case that I will be proving in this video, with Asta falling in between these 2 categories. So without further ado, allow me to explain the differences between these 2 and what each is capable of. The first type of devil host I want to go over is the Supreme Devil Host. The Supreme Devil and their host are in a relationship where the devil is in control of all the power, and the host uses their magic through a mana percentage system. That is limited while the gates of the underworld are closed, but when they open, they are able to use 100% of their respective devil's power. They communicate with their devils through this mind space, or in some cases can communicate through their host bodies directly, like with Vonica and Morris. This is possible through another method of powering up only Supreme Devil hosts can do, which is making a deal with their devil in exchange for the devil's body part that allows them to raise the amount of power they can draw from their devil. Asta also has access to this, and I will address that later in the video. It was never stated whether or not Morris exchanged his eyes for more power, but using context clues we can gather that since he now has black eyes like Vonica, but 2 implying he made a larger deal, which would explain why instead of just being able to talk through his mouth like Magicula, Lucifero forms a giant mouth on his forehead. This is all speculative, of course, take it with a grain of salt, but that does seem like the most logical explanation. But with that being said, let's continue to the next category. The second type of devil host is one that gains their power through a devil binding ritual. As I mentioned before, even though the only one we have met so far is Noct, this method of becoming a devil host is more common, and one where a human forms a contract through a devil binding ritual where you are placed in a battle against the devil you want to contract with. And to make the fight fairer for the human, the ritual suppresses the devil's power. If the human wins, they are completely subservient to you, and all of their power is yours to use as they serve as your familiar. But if you lose, they take over your body. This is the more common outcome given the hundreds of skulls shown in the pillars of Noct's basement. This method is technically possible to use on a Supreme Devil, but no human could take on the power of a Supreme in a one-on-one battle. Even with the suppressing elements of the ritual, the Supreme's strength is on a completely different level, as we saw with Lucifugus. Another risk of using this method on a Supreme Devil is the consequence of losing the fight. If the devil wins, they take over the failed host's body. And I don't think I need to explain how dangerous it would be if a Supreme Devil manifested in the physical world, given the examples shown in this previous arc. Devil binding hosts communicate with their devils in the physical world through these chibi familiar forms. The host has access to 100% of their power right off the bat. Noct didn't get any form of power up when the gates opened, so we can assume this method creates a bridge for the devil to escape the underworld temporarily, bringing along the full extent of their power. I know I said there were 2 types of devil hosts, but there is an unofficial 3rd category, which is a mixture of the previous 2 I went over, being Asta's contract with Liebe. His scenario of becoming a devil host is completely unprecedented in both the fact he has an equal contract with Liebe and also in the abilities he is able to achieve. Pre-devil binding ritual, Liebe was in control of all of the power, like the Triad's devils. He dished out power as he willed, and he could make deals in exchange for pieces of Asta's body. He also communicated with Liebe in the same mind space. We saw Dante and Xenon talk to their respective devils. Asta was also only able to use a fraction of Liebe's power, but instead of the percentage system that normal Supreme Devil contracted hosts were limited to, Asta was limited in the anti-magic power he could draw due to him not having any form of contract with Liebe, basically just utilizing the excess anti-magic that oozed from his grimoire. But post-Devil Binding Ritual, Asta could use Devil Union like Noct, but is still able to tap into that partial anti-magic form pre-contract. But since the contract is a 50-50 split, they are only able to use the full extent of their power when they both have the same goal and the same reasoning, only being able to achieve perfect Devil Union when their own mindsets were in unison. This is shown in the 2 cases that we saw their mindsets before they activated Imperfect Union. They have the same goal both times, the first time wanting to survive against Noct, and later in the arc wanting to defeat Lucifero's worm form, but their motives both times didn't add up. Asta wanted to save Yami, and Liebe wanted to avenge Lisita. But it was only when Asta fell through Liebe's mind, viewing his memories and learning about his life, along with his motives for wanting to kill Lucifero, that he was able to truly unite with Liebe, both on the goal of defeating Lucifero, along with the motivation of wanting to avenge Lisita, achieving a perfect devil union and defeating Lucifero. That will be where I wrap up today's video. If you are here at the end, thank you for watching. This was a little bit of a different video. It's kind of a theory, but in my mind, this is pretty factual. It just hasn't been officially canonized. But Tabata has established the information that there are two separate classes of devil hosts, Asta being somewhere in the middle as an unprecedented case. But with all that in mind, thank you so much for watching. See you next time.